All over the world, a mysterious hum is plaguing 2 to 10% of the population. Can you hear it? The hum is a persistent, low-frequency noise usually heard indoors at night by older people. People who do hear it often compare it to an idling engine or some other form of machinery, and says it pulsates every 1 second. Those who use a tone generator to match the tone said it's around 20 to 80 hertz. Now, I've done a little bit of research on the topic, and I've found 4 possible explanations for it. The first one is that it actually is some mechanical or electrical device. The first piece of evidence is fairly obvious. Many people compare it to an engine or another machine. Reports from West Seattle started rolling in, and then finally local authorities decided to take charge and figure out what it was. They eventually traced the sound to a broken vacuum pump owned by the company Cal Portland. Once Cal Portland replaced these with 2 new silencers, all reports stopped. Reports from Wellington, New Zealand started coming in after a Singaporean ship called the Stalwart came into port. But as soon as the ship left port, all reports ceased, and everything was back to normal. In a Canadian city named Windsor, reports also started coming in, and finally, after many complaints, the Canadian government decided to give $60,000 to researchers to figure out where is this noise coming from. So researchers at the University of Windsor used acoustic monitoring to triangulate the sound to a blast furnace on Zug Island. Now, they couldn't do much after this because Zug Island is in Michigan, which is on US soil, so they couldn't continue further. Another theory is spontaneous autoacoustic emissions, also known as SOAEs. Spontaneous autoacoustic emissions are low-frequency emissions caused by irregular patterns in the inside of the ear. It's been reported that 35 to 50% of adults have it, but only a few of them can actually hear it. Those who can hear it describe it as a buzzing or a ringing, usually between 500 Hz to 4.5 kilohertz, which is 4,500 Hz. Now, this doesn't match up because the hum is said to be between 20 and 80 Hz. Another theory is that it's caused naturally by the Earth because reports are all over the world. This low-level hum is caused by microearthquakes, which is a faint tremor in the Earth that's usually caused by pressure on the Earth caused by oceans. Fabrice Ardhan, a senior scientist at the National Center of Scientific Research in France, believes that the hum is caused by ocean waves putting pressure on the ocean floor, which then spreads out across the Earth, causing it to vibrate. He says that these vibrations cause very low frequencies, which can be picked up with people with extremely sensitive hearing. Now, it's already been scientifically proven by NASA that the Earth naturally produces a kind of song. Take a listen. And now we get to the one that's popular among conspiracy theorists. Low-frequency military communications. Ah yes, because the military has to be dragged into everything. At one point, the US Navy used extremely low frequencies, or ELFs, as a means of communicating with deep-sea submarines. Only 3 countries have been known to do this: the USA, Russia, and India. These extremely low frequencies were chosen because they could penetrate salt water better than higher frequencies. NASA describes it as non-ionizing radiation with frequencies between 0 and 300 Hertz. Now this works out perfectly because, like I said before, the hum is said to be between 20 and 80, which falls in between that 0 to 300 range. Now, to this day, the US military still uses these extremely low frequencies in a system called TACAMO, which stands for Take Charge and Move Out. This is a system that is to be used during nuclear warfare as a means of communication between extremely important decision makers. But even before TACAMO, the US Navy tried using extremely low frequencies in a project called Project Sanguine. Now, Project Sanguine was immediately met with tons of opposition from politicians, anti-war groups, and environmentalists. Project Sanguine was a huge concern for a few reasons. Number 1, it required lots and lots of energy to be traveling through the Earth, which could cause potential side effects, says environmentalists. It works by sending out electromagnetic waves, which have been said to cause health hazards, but a World Health Organization study says otherwise. Now, here's how Project Sanguine was meant to work. First, you had a central communication center where the military would be located. Then, you had 2 ground dipoles separated by about 14 miles or 23 kilometers into the ground. Power lines connected these ground dipoles to the communications center. Now what they did is electricity is sent from the communications center to the ground dipole, which then goes into the ground, sending electricity to the other one, and it works like an alternating current, and wherever there's electricity, there's a magnetic field. And these electromagnetic fields surrounded it and sent out these extremely low frequencies. Now, the US had already set up 2 sites, one in Republic, Michigan, and the other in Clam Lake, Wisconsin. Sorry if I mispronounce any of these names, but the Russian site was on the Kola Peninsula near Murmansk, and the Indian site was at the INS Katabaman Naval Base near Tamil Nadu. Like I said before, the World Health Organization, the WHO, studied the negative side effects of electromagnetic waves back in 2003. And as far as they can tell, there's little to no concern. And now time for some interesting facts about this interesting phenomenon. The first reports came from Bristol, England in the 1970s. Because of this, it's sometimes called the Bristol hum. Residents of Taos, New Mexico started talking about it, and it is also known as the Taos hum. About 2 to 10% of the world's population can hear it. It's usually heard indoors at night by older people. It's said to be between 20 and 80 hertz and pulses every 1 second, and that's pretty much all you need to know. So you may have noticed that my shirt changed, but that's totally okay. Something happened with the last few minutes of the previous recording. I will see you later.